book shopping. Yes, I did. So we are going to do a book haul. But before we get into the books, I have a little tiny exciting announcement. So my family owns a bookstore, in case you don't know that fact about me. We opened our bookstore in October of last year, and you are now able to support us through shopping our online store through Bookshop, and we are so excited. So basically all you have to do is log on to bookshop.com, you choose a bookstore, you type in Nadine Book Company, and you can click support to this shop, and then it'll pull up our site on bookshop.com, and you can shop on there like you would on Amazon or Barnes & Noble and get your books shipped directly to you. Bookshop is an amazing organization, and their entire philosophy is to support independent bookstores, and it's amazing because you're able to support our bookstore without having to actually come in store. We're just really excited to offer this now. So I'm gonna leave everything linked down below. I'm gonna leave all the instructions down below, and I would absolutely love it if you all would shop our site. If you do, please leave me a little comment down below. Tell me what book you bought so that I can send you a little thank you note. So excited you can shop at Nadine Book Company online now. But yes, back to the haul. So I did a little damage, not as crazy as I have done before. I kept it kind of tame. I only got 7 books, which depending on your book shopping habits might seem like a lot, or you know, a normal amount of books to buy, but I was very, very excited to get all of these, so we are going to go through them together. Let's start with the book that I actually went in to purchase and what led to the rest of this haul, and that is Abby Jimenez's new release, Say You'll Remember Me. Abby Jimenez is a romance author. If you watched my end of the year wrap up or mid-year wrap up from last year, you will know that I absolutely loved Just for the Summer, which was her summer release last year, and this book is the continuation of that world. And I said in that video that I read the first 2 and wasn't a huge fan, and then Just for the Summer, I read that book and was absolutely blown away. I gave it 5 stars. Justin was my new book boyfriend, and I just absolutely loved that romance. It was the best romance I read last year, and so I was so excited to get this one. We're actually doing this one as our book club pick for the bookstore, which I'm really excited about. This is our first time doing a romance, so I think it's gonna be really fun to talk to all the girls in our book club about it. This book follows Xavier and Samantha, who I actually don't know. I can't remember who those people are in this series, so I'm gonna have to figure that out first. But basically, Xavier is a gorgeous vegetarian. Xavier is a gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes, all while cuddling a tiny kitten. I guess they have a really amazing first date, but Samantha, her family is in crisis, and any kind of relationship would be impossible. So Samantha begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. Only no amount of distance or time is nearly enough to forget that something between them. The only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life and even a love worth remembering. So I'm really excited about this. I mean, this cover is just absolutely gorgeous. I did a lot of cover shopping in this haul, as you will see. Everything that I bought had the cutest covers and were all very like springy, bright colors. So I am very, very excited about this. I'm probably gonna save to read this closer to when our book club is meeting, which is the last Tuesday of this month, just so that I'll have it fresh in my mind. I always do that with book club books because I read so much and so quickly. If I read it now, I will forget the plot by the time we actually meet at the end of the month. So I will be waiting to read this until closer to time, but I'm so excited. I feel like this is gonna be my first little toe dip into summer romance, which is my favorite time of year to be reading. And yeah, I am so excited to read this. The next book that I have is Mastering the Art of French Murder, an American in Paris mystery by Colleen Cambridge. And I have had this series on my list for a while. I want another cozy mystery series to have in my repertoire. If you watched my Pink Books reading vlog, you will know that I thought that was going to be the Dior or Die mystery series. It was like a fashion mystery series, and I did not like that book, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that this one will be good. So the 3rd book in the series comes out, I believe, in May or June, and so I thought this would be a good time to start the first one, and I can build my way up to the last one. I don't read a lot of mystery, but I do find that mysteries are great if I ever get into a slump. I think just the fast-paced nature of a mystery book is really nice to get you out of a slump, because you just want to know what happened, and they're always suspenseful, and I just feel like I can read mystery books pretty quickly. I say that, and then it took me forever to read Dior or Die, but I have high hopes for this one. The one that's coming out this summer is called A Fashionably French Murder, and so I'm getting a little bit of that fashion in there, but yes, I have high hopes that I'm gonna like this one better than the fashion mystery series. This one is also cool because it follows a make-believe best friend of Julia Child. So it follows Tabitha Knight, a young American woman, makes friends with chef-in-training Julia Child and finds herself immersed in a murder most unsavory. So this is also in the world of Julia Child, which I think is just so fun. I love, what is that movie? Julie and Julia? It's the movie with Amy Adams, and she's like making a blog about Julia Child's. I also read Julia Child's memoir a couple years ago and loved it. That's a great nonfiction recommendation. If you all enjoy reading memoirs or biographies, the Julia Child's memoir is so good. Yeah, I think this one's gonna be really fun. I like that it is set in Paris. I like that it has that back plot of Julia Child's. The murder takes place at a party given by Julia's sister Dort, and the weapon is a knife from Julia's kitchen, and so I think it'll just be a fun, cute, cozy mystery, or at least I'm hoping it will be. The next book I bought purely for the cover, but I think I'm actually gonna really enjoy it too. So this is called Summer in the City by Alex Aster, and first of all, I mean, the cover is so bright and fun, but look at the sprayed edges. It's a pink, see if I can get that to focus. It's a pink New York skyline. Are you kidding me? And then look at the inside cover. It's a pink map of New York. I just had to buy this. I was like, I don't even care what this book is about. I need this in my collection because it is just so bright and fun. And so I think I'm actually gonna like this too, because it's kind of a fake dating situation, and that is my favorite romance trope. I love a fake dating moment. But basically there is a screenwriter named Elle. She's had writer's block for months. She gets the opportunity to go to New York and write a new movie. She gets put up in this amazing apartment, and it turns out that her next door neighbor is billionaire bachelor Parker Warren, who is her stairwell hookup from 2 years ago. It's been an enemies to lover situation ever since. However, they get into a fake dating situation because he takes her around New York City to try to find her spark again, and then he needs a fake relationship for his company's precarious acquisition. I have a feeling I'm gonna love this. I have never heard of this author before, but I randomly saw a video about her on my Instagram this morning. I don't know if this is her first book, but I saw where she was promoting it in New York with, I think there was a van or a bus and it was pink and it had the cover on it. But yeah, I'm excited to read this, and maybe it'll be a new favorite author. Okay, next up we have His Girl Hollywood by Maureen Lee Lenker. And this is a romance book as well, but this is a historical romance. So this is set in the 1930s, and this follows Arlene Morgan and Don Lamont. And Arlene has always dreamed of being a film director, and she gets the chance to direct a major motion film. However, it turns out that the leading man is Don, who was her childhood best friend and the only man she's ever loved. However, he's also the man who abandoned her to pursue a dance career in New York. She has to learn to work with him again, and we have a subplot where Don, beneath the surface of his Broadway success, has been trapped under the thumb of his gangster manager for nearly a decade, unable to come home. When he's offered the role in Hollywood, he leaves with a chance to free himself, and of course, you know, romance ensues as they rehash old feelings. But I don't know, for some reason the whole like 1930s Hollywood and then some sort of like gangster manager involved in the mix sounds really fun. So I'm just excited to read this one. And again, I mean, these covers, all of these covers are so pretty. Like I said, definitely did some cover shopping. But it's actually funny because this one, I have a couple of books in this haul that have Emily Henry quotes on them. There was one on the Abby Jimenez book, and then there's one on this one too, and it just says, "My perfect read," quoted by Emily Henry. So I thought if Emily Henry liked it, I really like her books, so maybe I would like this one as well. All right, the next book that I got is Summer Darlings by Brooke Lee Foster, and I bought this purely for the cover because this is the most, oh my gosh, it's like the Hamptons or like Nantucket, like old money summer vibes. I just thought it was so cute. So this book is set in 1962, and it follows our main character Hetty, and she leaves her life to basically go and become a nanny for a really wealthy family in Martha's Vineyard. But while she's there, she discovers that her academic scholarship has been revoked, and she doesn't know what she's going to do with the rest of her life. And so her plan is to kind of infiltrate this social scene in Martha's Vineyard, try to find herself a nice husband. So she starts up a little bit of a romance between her and a lifeguard from the island, but she also has a boy back home from her college. You know, she's trying to decide who is the better man for her, and the more she infiltrates the social scene of Martha's Vineyard, the more she realizes that everything might not be as picture perfect as it seems. So I just think it's gonna be really fun. I have never been to Martha's Vineyard, but I love the Hamptons and I love Nantucket, and I've heard that Martha's Vineyard is along those lines, so I think this is gonna be a really fun setting for summer. I will probably say this to actually read during summer December, not this kind of like spring lead up to summer, but I'm just really excited. And again, the cover is so cute. All right, this one I have to confess I only bought because of the cover. I've actually not heard the best things about this series, but I just thought the cover was too cute. So this is the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and this is by Laurie Gilmore, and this is the author of The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which was a book that kind of became popular last fall. It is a small town spicy romance, and all of these books are in the same town, I believe, or maybe connected with the same characters. But there is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which I believe are both kind of fall themed books. But then she came out with the summer one, the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and this is going to be her summer themed one in this series. So I haven't read the other two, but I just really needed this one because of the cover, because I mean, how cute is that? It's so cute. So this follows our single dad Archer, who is a world-renowned chef, but somehow he finds himself in this very small town running a pancake house. The town needed someone to take over this house, and Archer wanted a community to help care for his daughter. And then our female main character, Iris, has never been able to hold down a job, and so the mayor of the town suggests to Archer that she become his nanny. So funny that we have 2 nanny books in this haul, but she agrees to become their nanny, and she says, now Iris finds herself in a whole new world, one where her gorgeous new boss lives right across the hall and likes to cook topless. Keeping everything strictly professional should be easy, right? So I have a feeling this is going to be a very ridiculous romance book, but you know, I have a little special place in my heart for raunchy romance books. Nadine West Book Company is the name of my family's bookstore, and it's named after my great-grandmother, Nadine West. She was my mom's maternal grandmother, so her, my grandmother, my mom, and me, she kind of passed down that love of reading to all of us, and that's why mom decided to name the bookstore after her. But we always joke that we had to have a very well-stocked romance section because that was my great-grandmother's favorite thing to read. She loved herself a romance book, and she had no shame in reading any sort of romance books. And this was the time when romance books had like oiled up chested men on the covers, like Fabio hair flowing in the wind, and those were her favorite kind of books to read. So every time I read a book like this, I know it's gonna be so ridiculous, but it's just like, oh, my mom would love this. And then last but not least, I again bought this purely because of the cover, but this is called A Perfect Vintage by Chelsea Fagan, and look how beautiful this cover is. It's so summery, and I love that it's an oil painting style cover, and this is probably one that I'll save for actual summer too, just because I feel like this would be so fun to read by the pool. But this is a cool concept. I thought this was a mystery book, but this is actually more of almost like a literary fiction, which I don't normally enjoy literary fiction, but I think the concept of this one sounds cool. So this book follows our main character Lee, and she kind of has her life made, or at least the way that she wants it to be made. She is a highly sought after consultant who specializes in turning rundown French estates into boutique hotels. So she goes to far spread regions of France and takes these beautiful chateaus and basically saves them from ruin and turns them into boutique hotels. And she's single, she doesn't have any kids, and she kind of just loves her life of getting to travel and go to different places, and she has a very lucrative job, and so she's just kind of living life. However, her best friend Stephanie goes through a divorce, a really bad divorce, and so she invites Stephanie out to her newest location to consult on. Stephanie moves in with her college-aged daughter, and so Stephanie and her daughter and Lee are in the Loire Valley in France for the summer. And at first everything is great and everyone is getting along. However, problems start to arise when Stephanie and her daughter start causing problems during the renovation process, and they threaten the timeline of the project. And so Lee is having to balance, you know, wanting to support her friend and her daughter while still maintaining a professional relationship on the grounds. And then we also have a little romance subplot where she falls of the much younger son of her boss, and she quickly learns the beauty and danger of losing control. Lee realizes that it's not just a broken heart she's risking, but her entire meticulously constructed life blowing up in her face. So it's gonna be interesting. I love the idea of this being set in France and it being set in a beautiful chateau, and I think all of the relationship stuff is going to be interesting. It kind of reminds me of the plot of an Ellen Hildebrand book. Not that there's an Ellen Hildebrand book set in France, but just the idea of it being mostly focused around the relationships of the people and that kind of thing. So I'm excited. Like I said, I don't read a ton of literary fiction, but I think this will be one that I could at least potentially enjoy. And those were all the books that I bought. I hope you all enjoyed this haul. Don't forget that you can shop Nadine West at bookshop.org. Again, I'll leave everything linked down below. All of these books are also available to shop on there as well. So if you liked any of these books, you could purchase one of them on Bookshop if you wanted to. No pressure, no pressure. But yes, let me know which of these books was your favorite and which one you would most like to read. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!